Go on there too. Okay. Woo. This is great. Okay. How's it going, Mr. Alvarez?
Going well.
Good. Okay. So I want to start off by saying I really thank you for opening up your doors to the school and allowing me to come here to grow my skills and get experiences with talking to the faculty and staff and interacting with the teachers and the students and stuff, and giving me your knowledge and your experiences, that you have picked up throughout your years of being an administrator. I want to use everything you've given me, and I want to, go forward in my walk in administration, and hopefully I'll be just as good as you one day.
Thank you for the kind words.
You're very welcome. Okay, so this is going to be a quick, short interview, or just a conversation between the two of us, where I want to go ahead and go over a few of the standards that were expected for me to complete in my IL 579 class at UWA. The one standard I wanted to kind of hone in on was developing a PowerPoint presentation appropriate for faculty, community staff, and mature students that summarizes your vision of learning and related to the school's vision. Include in your presentation your plan to involve the stakeholders in revising or updating the current vision. Share your presentation to a group of stakeholders. So I'm not sure if you can remember, but it was the second week in February on a Monday, where we had about maybe half of the faculty, the other half were out doing other PD sessions at the central office. So I was there and had the presentation in the library, and I know that my assignment was to share my vision for Sipsey Valley High School, but I just thought that it wasn't appropriate because we're halfway through the school year and your vision and mission statement has already been established, and it's already a well-oiled engine, going. So what I decided to do was just to share a little bit of personal information about myself. Coming to Sipsey Valley High School, I'm just a plain old woman to most people. They don't know who I am. And I think one of the main goals to developing a strong relationship with other people is to be able to just be transparent. So I, had a PowerPoint presentation that had pictures of my family, some vacation spots, and I even kind of got a little personal with, me going through a divorce and living in a homeless shelter and living in a car when I was growing up. And, and at the very end, I wanted the teachers to feel that, okay, they are in a position where they can impact their students' lives, just like how my teachers did me when I was coming up. And I was kind of nervous about taking that angle because some teachers don't like to discuss, personal information. But at the very end, I was very surprised how several teachers raised their hand and said, look, I know a student who kind of went through something very similar to you, Miss Lightfoot Brown, and they shared this with me, but they're on their way to greatness, So how did you think that presentation went?
I think it was very powerful. It made you human toward the teachers, not the alien administrator. It probably hit home for some of them,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, it opened their eyes to some kids that we know are going through the same thing.
Absolutely. So I really appreciate that. And then it's a shame that COVID-19 came and we couldn't really finish up the that program, but I'm going to modify it and tweak it once I get my school and try to do something like that. So that way the teachers, if they decide to be transparent, open to their students so they can seem human, then their students will be in a position where they can come to their teacher, and confide in them about whatever's going on in their personal life. So, okay, so the last one I want to talk about was the, I think it was assignment number, it's like either 4 or 5, where I had to do something with a newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so let's see here. Make sure I edit this part of the video here. Let's review laws, policies. Well, that has been left in the car. Okay, so I'll pretend like I'm reading it. All right, so this second activity states that the teacher should engage in creating a newsletter of some sort that will be able to communicate the current events that takes place in the school. So I wanted to do a newsletter that would be sent out every Friday. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I didn't step on anyone's toes. I knew that we already had our monitors in the hallway, and we have another teacher who's in charge of the Sipsey Valley TV and program. And so I wanted to do something that was kind of like a conglomerate of what you're already doing currently, and then kind of have a little twist to it, on my own. So Miss, what was the teacher what's her name that's in charge of it?
Miss Sinkville.
Miss Sinkville, yes. So Miss Sinkville said, "Oh, Miss Lightfoot Brown, I think this is a great idea for you to do a newsletter. If you need any help, just go ahead and just reach out to me. I have plenty of pictures of students, and also have cameras that you could borrow." So she was very inviting and helpful with that. So what I decided to do was just to kind of take pictures of students in action. So I saw groups of students in Miss Ryan's physics class building roller coasters out of construction paper, and I saw students in groups outside in a beautiful courtyard presenting their volcanoes. Mm-hmm. And those students were so creative. I saw volcanoes made out of parchment paper, volcanoes made out of just grass and dirt, and one group used the whole vinegar and baking soda, explosion. Another group did Pepsi and the little what are the little Mentos, yes. So they all had a different, ways of, igniting their volcanoes. And then I also went to Miss Sisty, is it Miss Sisty? Right. Anatomy class, and they were dissecting cows' eyeballs, yes. Mm-hmm. Which was both disgusting and intriguing at the same time. So taking all those pictures and just kind of putting them in the newsletter, I realized that I could not put every picture in a newsletter. But at the same time, I didn't want teachers who knew that I've actually come into their classroom and I've captured students in action. I don't want them to feel like I forgot about them because their pictures didn't wind up in that Friday's newsletter. So I just kind of had to figure out a way to, put the best picture in there with the most information and then save the rest of the pictures for the following week. And when I started doing that, I was getting emails from the teachers who were, on display for that week's newsletter the following day. They would say, "Oh, Miss Lightfoot Brown, thank you so much. I'm just afraid that, what we do in the classroom, other teachers may not know or other students may not know. So this is a great avenue to kind of open it up, So what did you think about that?"
I thought it was a great project. Anytime you had the chance to brag on a student, a teacher, an activity, that positive reinforcement goes a long way.
Absolutely. I agree. And what, another thing I noticed is that students appreciate that too. When they know that they're working hard at something, they see an administrator come into the classroom just to observe. You don't have a clipboard. You don't have no tablet. You're not there to, run the ship. You're just there just to observe and just have fun. Mm-hmm. They want to really put their best foot forward, and they feel like you're in support of their learning. Right. So it kind of goes all the way around. So I really enjoy doing the newsletter, and hopefully I could take that to my new school. So in conclusion, do you have any pointers for me and that could help me to become the best, most effective administrator in the future?
I think you just have to be yourself. Everyone has their own personality. You have a very big personality, which I think is a plus. Mm-hmm. Obviously, whenever you do get into a school, mm-hmm. they have their way of doing things. So as far as putting in your vision, it's got to be a little bit at a time, or else you'll have some resentment and some pushback.
Absolutely.
But the main thing, you get your teachers involved, you get them to feel like they're part of it, mm-hmm. and they have a voice. Get done it, whatever you want to get done.
Amen. And I appreciate your wisdom and your openness and just you being approachable. It has never been a time where I've come to work or to school and felt like, oh, he's having a bad mood, or, oh, I can't talk to him. You've always had an open door policy, and you've always, been one step ahead of me in making sure that I got what I needed as a growing future administrator. So I thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
All right, so bye, y'all. Okay, stop. There we go, it saved it. All right, and I'm gonna stop this one right